We are finally here. The Rugby World Cup. There can be only one. I'm picturing the Highlander say that there can be only one. I think it's him that says it. Two of the most dominant nations in world rugby forever, since William Webb Ellis picked that soccer ball up and started running, the All Blacks and Springboks have dominated world rugby. I'm not listening to anyone who thinks otherwise. Two nations who are both equal on 3 World Cup titles each. Someone is going to be the first nation to hit 4. They're going to run out here. They're going to run out of space. There. They're going to run out of space. Why? Oh, I don't have the 2019 one on there because this is the 2019 jumper. They're going to run out of space. Someone is going to be the first nation to have 4 trophies, 4 World Cup William Webb Ellis's lifted up. And I can't wait. We're here. It's the World Cup final week. Are you keen? Let me know in the comments. You keen? Are we keen? Who's winning? Springboks. BOKS. Guys, before we get into all of that, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has tuned in to me or the channel covering the World Cup this year. It's been immense. The growth in the channel has been immense, and I couldn't have done it without you guys. If you're new here, hit the subscribe. I'd love that. Leave a comment. Whether it's good or bad, I like to reply to all of them. I love you guys, man. Enough about that. Let's get into the World Cup final.
Now what's he going to do? Oh, don't tell me. Hold on. What's going to happen? This is South Africa's record.
Lamu. Johnny Wilkinson. He's done it.
All right. Firstly, we'll start with the Springboks. Everyone's talking about it. The 7-1 split. The first time the Springboks ever, or Rassie and Jock ever did this, was against the All Blacks in Twickenham, where Springboks won 35-7. We're doing it again. It takes, like I said, it takes kahunas, it takes balas, it takes groot balas to do something like this. But to win something or to be great, you have to take chances and risks. This is all the chips in on your first hand in blackjack. Is it blackjack? Did they do that? I think so. Or poker. All your chips in. This is what this is. 7-1 split. Yes. If Faf gets injured, Colby can kind of cover there. I even think Kwagga Smith can maybe cover there. I think the biggest problem, and someone mentioned it on our Facebook page, Top Rugby Show Facebook page. If you haven't, go check it out. That if we get an injury in the hooking position, we might lack there with throwing. Yes, Dion Fourie can cover there, but will that affect our scrum? Will it affect our line-out accuracy? Who knows? They obviously have a plan for that. My biggest inclusions are Faf and Pollard. That's your generals there. Pollard has shown he's won a World Cup. He's shown what he brings to this team. I think we need what Pollard did in the semi-final. So when he come on after 30 minutes, I think it was. So for 50 minutes, we need that throughout the whole game. And that's obviously why they've picked him, because they need that. They need him making the right decisions, kicking his goals, kicking out of touch, clearing, being strong on defense, but most importantly, being vocal in communication. That's what a 10 needs to be doing. And that's what Pollard has. That's what he does really well. He's also got ice in the veins, ice in his veins. I don't think he knows what pressure is. And he just steps up to the plate. He's like, give me all the pressure. That pressure, is that pressure over there? Yep, give it to me. Oh, let me just eat that up. I'm loving that. You've got guys like Willie Leroux's the only backline player on the bench. He can cover pretty much almost the whole backline. Chuck him in at 10 if you have to. Damien Willems, obviously, he's covering 10 as well. Andre Pollard and Damien probably both cover 12. Villy can cover fullback, wing, 10. I think they can just rejig Quagga Smith if it has to be, if shit hits the fan. Quagga Smith can play in the back line. I'm pretty sure he can play 12. He can play on the wing. Yes, obviously not at the level of these guys that have played 12 their whole life. But if anyone can do a job for their country, Quagga Smith, Quagga Roberts, Quagga Smith can do a job. So I think the impact he'll bring, and impact the bench will bring, and we're going to get to that. I think the Springboks game plan going into this is, we all know, it's physicality. But it's going to be to the point of Rassi and them telling these boys, go out there and give every single inch of physicality that you do have for between 40 and 55 minutes. Because think you're a New Zealander, okay? You're an All Black. You've been tackling Dwayne. You've been tackling Peter Steph du Toit, Sia Kolisi, Dwayne Vermeulen. You've been tackling all these guys, Franco Mostert, Franz, Kitta, Bongi. You'll be tackling all these guys for 50 minutes. You're down. You've just made a big tackle. Something's happened at the ruck. They got a penalty and you're like, oh, yo, bro, I'm tired, man. Get up. You look up. A whole new forward pack walks onto the field. I can see, like the Avengers, the smoke clears the room and Ox, Trevor, RG Snyman, John Klein, Dion Fourie, Quagga Smith, Jasper Wiese just like rise from the smoke like that and walk onto the field. And then you have to tackle these guys again. Ooh, I'm telling you now, if the Springboks are ahead or within 10 points at around the 50-minute mark or the 45-minute mark, when subs need to be made, Springboks are winning. I'm clipping this up because if that's happening, if Springboks are either leading or within 10 points around the time we need to make subs, Springboks are winning. Mark my words. No bench has a bigger impact on a game than the Springbok bench, the bomb squad. What's also very compelling for me, and I'm going into this with a bit of confidence, is that Springboks, even though they've been playing badly the past 2 weeks, I'd say more rather like their worst game has been out of the two, the quarters and the semis, has been in the semi-final. They've still found ways to win. And that's a mark of a very, very strong and good, well-oiled side, is even though they're playing badly, they can find ways to win. And the Springboks can do that. A big thing as well is, I would say 80, I don't think it's 80%. A large number of the current Springboks in the squad have won a World Cup already. When it comes down to the tough moments, everyone's huddled up like, fuck, boys, wat moet ons nou doen? They know exactly, guys. Everyone knows who needs to talk, know what needs to be done. Calm heads, cool heads, clear hearts, can't lose. I don't know what the saying is. I think that it definitely does count. Those guys that know what to say, when to say it, know to keep everyone calm. You kan nie ervaring koop. You can't buy experience. I do think Springboks are going to come out and play a Springbok style of rugby. In saying that, I think it's going to be a lot more open than everyone kind of thinks. There's going to be tries scored. We saw in the semi-finals, instead of going for posts, we were going for touch. We might not in the first half, but in the second half, there's going to be tries. I'm telling you now. Pollard, yes, his boot is a bit more reliable than Marnie's. So you could, in the first half, and again, yes, we just want to win, whether it's a point or not. They'll be going for points, but don't be surprised if we're going for tries. I think the up and under pressure tactic is going to be used again. And they'll be targeting, I think, Beauden Barrett and Mark Talia, because you don't want to give the ball to Will Jordan. I think they're going to try and shut him down big time, or have contestable kicks on him So he can't, you've got 3 or 4 guys around him if he does catch it, or you're going to contest for him. So, and you're contesting in the air. So it kind of takes him out of the game, if that makes sense. But it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. Moving on to the All Blacks. Looking at the teams, the only real change is so Brody Ratali comes in, Whitelock goes to the bench, and Nepo Lalala comes in on the bench, and Fletcher Newell is dropped out of the 23. I saw Fozzie saying in the week that it was a tough discussion to have with Dane Coles, that telling him that he's already played his last game for the All Blacks because Tokiao, I think that's how you pronounce it, is on the bench. And obviously Cody Taylor is starting. Kind of, this is the team that's rolled out for the All Blacks is kind of what we expected. There was no major injuries, or I wasn't expecting a 7-1 split on the bench or even a 6-2. They've got Finlay Christie, Damian McKenzie, and Anton Leonard-Brown on the bench, so the 3 backs. So your normal 5-3 split. Like I said, I think the difference in this game will come when subs need to be made. Because the Springboks bench, like it or not, has made a massive impact on each and every one of the games the Springboks have played. This obviously, again, means nothing if from the jump, the All Blacks just go out there and demolish the Springboks. It's happened before. The All Blacks, like I've said, no matter where they're on the world rankings, what kind of form they're in at the moment, they will always be the benchmark of test rugby. And they are. I don't care who, and I'm also not listening to anyone who says otherwise, because they are. They've been the most dominant team in world rugby forever. And for me, are the favorites going into this game. I think the All Blacks, if the All Blacks just stick to what they do best, your basics, doing your basics really well, executing on their plays, and keeping it simple, but with the All Blacks flair, if that makes sense. They know when to offload. They know when to hold on to the ball. They know when to kick. They execute their plays really well. Just like all that simple things done really well. So winning your rucks, making your tackles, passes out in front. That's when All Blacks are playing well, they're doing all those little things really, really well, executing it. And I think that's when they're playing their best rugby, and they can almost be unstoppable. Springboks know this and will be into every ruck, making strong tackles. Because, again, the way to beat the All Blacks is, again, in my opinion, stopping their momentum. So if All Blacks start to get a roll on, they're getting over the advantage line. They're allowed to play their little offloads. They're having numbers at rucks. They're getting clean ball. Aaron Smith is getting clean ball off the deck. And they're almost impossible to stop. As soon as you start, it takes 3 or 4 more players to clean a ruck. Guys are getting over the ball. Nuggy, Aaron Smith, he's having a lot of issues at the ruck time. He's having to dig for the ball, or he's getting dragged in. He's not getting clean ball out. You're rushing and you're getting up in their face on defense. That's when you can start to see small cracks in the All Blacks game, especially with this team. I think with the 2015, 2011 era, those guys kind of knew how to handle that pressure a little bit more, kind of adjust their game plan. Well, yes, we saw it with the Irish, the Ireland game. They could take that pressure, turn that defense into attack. But I think the Springbok pressure that when they do put on teams, man, that's a different pressure. I think, like I've said now, with the All Blacks, when they get momentum on attack, Springboks get momentum on defense, led by Jesse Creel, led by Yeba Netzebeth, Sia Kolisi, Peter Steph Tutoy, and then when like Kwagga Smith comes on and Dion Fourie, these guys, Dwayne Vermeulen, are really pushing up strong on defense. I think Mo'unga and Barrett will be super important for the ABs when it comes to decision making. whether they're making the right decisions to kick, to pass, when to kick, when not to kick, when to play, when it's on. Again, on defense as well, because Lord knows they're going to be running at Mo'unga. I mean, if they get line breaks, Bodie's your last line of defense. We saw in the I think it was the Auckland game, two vital moments when, again, when I think it was Bowden come in at first receiver, little cross kick chip to Will Jordan to score. But the play was going kind of to the left. He saw where the space was, took it on himself, stepped and kicked it back to the right. Just little decision-making like that. I think Mo'unga as well, they had a scrum. And if I remember correctly, the play was to the left. Mo'unga came to the right with Artie Sevilla and went over to score. Little small things like that. Those decisions, the kind of off the cuff decision-making. That's the difference. These experienced players making those decisions. That's the difference. I think they're definitely going to use Springboks tactic with the up and unders. I think Aaron Smith did it in one of the games as well, kind of attacking. I'm not sure if it was against South Africa or against another team, attacking the try line. So in attacking position, maybe just out of the 22, doing box kicks and guys putting pressure on like that. I think Will Jordan and Talia are a little bit taller than Cheslin and Kurtley Orenser. And if they can attack them there, or at least put pressure on them there. Damien Willemse is also not the tallest guy. Yes, very good in the air. But I think Mark Talia and Will Jordan, even Bodie, even Geordie Barrett, guys that are very good in the air and a bit taller, can put pressure on them there. So they have the potential to out-Springbok the Springboks, if that makes sense. Again, All Blacks just need to be playing their game. Springboks play their game. And it's literally, honestly, it's a flick of a coin. Whoever's on the day, whoever gets maybe a couple of 50-50 calls. Oh, man, this game, it's going to be one of the best World Cup finals there ever was. These two teams are playing a style of rugby that's not, I don't think it's going to be a penalty kick. These guys are going to go for tries. I'm telling you now. That's also, I think that was enough pointers for the All Blacks. I've given them heaps of pointers there to win. Springboks know we have the memo. We know what's happening. We know how we're going to play. It just needs to go out there and execute. Execute. I think I've made a bet with a friend, a fellow Kiwi friend. Whoever wins, loses, gets the opposite tattoo on their ass. So like he'll get the Springbok and I will get the silver fern. I think now that I've mentioned it, we've got it on the bum. We'll see what happens. Guys, I'm backing, as you all, I've been saying it forever, back to back. It's happening. We're here. The last hurdle is among us. It's upon us. I'm going Springboks by 12. Yes. It might be closer than that, but I'm going Springboks by 12. Like I said, if we're within a sniff, when the subs need to be made, we're on. Springboks are on. Hier kom die bokke. Hier kom die bok. Woo! Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm pumped. Again, I'm pumped. Let's go. And we'll see you after.